included equations where you add and multiply or subtract and divide or any combination. If you notice, the drum set story and the problems we did yesterday from that PowerPoint are actually right here in your book. So needless to say, I'm not using the same examples. All right, so I want to go through a few that are like example 1 with you and show you how you would solve it and show you how you would check it. If you remember yesterday, I told you that if you did not show your checks, they would automatically be wrong. So that's going to continue. When it says check, you show it. So here's my example 1. 8x added to 7 is equal to 47. When solving problems that involve a variable, your goal is to find out what the heck x is. Okay, that's the point. And while it might not seem very real life to you, there are encounters where you're going to have to figure something out. And the variable itself just represents what you're figuring out. You just didn't learn that when you were little. When you were young and your teachers were teaching you math facts, they didn't say 6 plus 2 equals x. They said 6 plus 2 equals what? And you all would have to come up with what the sum was. All right, so whenever there is both addition and subtraction or multiplication division located within the same equation, you always do anything that involves addition or subtraction first. You always do anything that involves addition or subtraction first. So we're adding 7, right? You guys learned that to solve these types of things, you performed the opposite. You undid the addition of the 7. And how do you undo addition? Who remembers? Ooh, Amy does.
You add its opposite.
Yep. Otherwise known as a -7. I always just write it this way. If you write plus -7, you're fine there as well. I know her hair is pretty, isn't it? What that does is it takes this and makes it a 0. Now all I have on the left is 8x and all I have on the right is 40. Most of you already know the answer, but in case you didn't, you undo whatever the operation is. This says 8 multiplied by x equals 40. So to solve what that is, we divide the opposite of multiplication, right? Most of you came up with a 5, right? If you leave it like this, I'm going to mark it wrong. Check. 8 multiplied by 5 added to 7. I'm just putting a little question mark there to kind of represent that I'm checking myself. Does it indeed represent 47? Well, obviously it does, but just to kind of show you, you might do it something like that. That's how I can prove to you I'm doing it correctly. Here's another example that is just like example 1, and it looks like this. 1 is equal to 9 plus 2 times r. Is there any addition or subtraction going on? It's not nearly as obvious. Miss Sarah. Yes, good. Remove the 9. She's right. This is the addition subtraction piece. This is the multiplication piece that we're going to divide later. So yeah, we're going to subtract that 9. Everybody should be copying it right along with me. You get a -8. Now we perform the division, right? Divide by 2? What's the result after we divide by 2, Eli? What do you think?
4.
Nope, 4 times 2 is 8. We're looking for -8.
8.
Yes, very good. A -8 divided by a +2 is a -4. To check it, we're going to plug in the variable's value right there. 1 is equal to 9 plus 2 multiplied by, what did we say, -4? So 9 plus -8. Does that equal 1? Yes. Okay? This is how you show your checks. Whether this was a positive or a -9, you undo it. If it was a -9, we would have added it. Okay? Turning the page to go on to example 2. And any combination of activities might be going on. You might have addition with division, whatever. Y, that's supposed to be a Y, divided by 4 minus 2 is equal to 1. That should be a Y and that should be a 4. Lord have mercy on my handwriting. We're going to perform any addition or subtraction first. Does anybody see any addition, subtraction? Miss Emma? So what are we going to do to the 2? Bravo. Your goal in this type of situation is always to get the variable, which in this case is y, by itself on one side of the equal sign, and some sort of a number by itself on the other, thereby saying y equals blah, whatever it equals. Y divided by 4 equals 3. Now this is a division piece, right? What will we do to undo the division? What will we do? Yes, Leah? Multiply by 4. Very good. And I'm showing it on both sides only so that you see the how. The how that y then ends up by itself.
I need Esther, Allie, Grace, and Ashley to the office, please.
You should have come up with a 12. 4 over 1 multiplied by y over 4. The 4's divide evenly into each other, resulting in them canceling. Y is equal to 12. To check that, take your answer, 12, divide it into 4 equal groups, which is 3. Subtract 2 from it. Does that indeed equal 1? Does 3 minus 2 equal 1? Yeah. Wake up, folks. How about this one? Here's another example too. -1 plus d divided into 5 groups equals 2. Sorry, copied it a little goofy. 2 is equal to -1 plus d divided into 5 groups. Noah, what will I add or subtract?
The d over 5.
This is division, right? D divided by 5?
I mean the -1.
Yep. So what do we do with that -1? Bravo. Y'all come up with 3 equaling d divided by 5? Most of you already know the answer, but in case you don't, Stuart, what will we multiply both sides by in order to get the d result? So d divided by 5 is 3. We want to undo the division by multiplying. So like the one up here, we had y divided by 4 minus 2 is 1. We added the 2, so that's the step Noah's already explained to you. And we were left with y divided by 4 is 3. What did we multiply by here? Oh. The 4. Here's the 4. Here's the 4. So we're in the same boat down here. 3 is equal to d divided by 5. So what are we going to do? Multiply everything by 5. Awesome.
I need Jesse and Bailey to the office, please.
So you all would have come up with D being equal to 15. D equals 15. We got an ice cream sandwich. We got an ice cream sandwich. Thank you. D equals 15. I'm gonna Nash on it right now too. To test that, we're gonna plug in D, and it's gonna be 2 is equal to -1 plus, hush guys, 15 divided by 5. Does that work? -1 plus 3, the result of that. Does that equal 2? Yes. All right. Example 3, I can go example after example, and you're just gonna keep doing the same thing over and over. No. I'll give you guys a couple things to do really quick. We're gonna cut this out here.